Greetings. Thank you so much for coming here tonight. My name is Jane Gabriels. I'm director at Pepatián. So welcome to Pepatián Bronx Arts Collaborative, sharing the same cielo, sharing the same sky. This is presented in a wonderful partnership with Osto Center for the Arts and Culture. Thank you, Felix. Thank you, Gregory. Thank you, Katie. Pepatián is very fortunate to create work on the lands of the Siwanoy, the Wet'suwet'en homelands. We are very grateful as we continue learning about their stewardship of these lands and waters. And as a quick aside, everything's okay. Okay. As a quick aside, Pepatián worked with Bronx River Alliance and the New York City Parks in partnership with Caridad De La Luz, he'll meet later, as a small gesture, to put a plaque on a park bench to acknowledge that we are on Siwanoy lands. So if you go to Classen Point Park, look for the bench, take a minute, have a seat, look out on the waters, and just think about how lucky we are to be living by these beautiful rivers. I have to also thank the funders, which is Department of Cultural Affairs. Thank you for coming through. The New Yankee Stadium Community Benefits Fund, the Mertz Gilmore Foundation, our very own Bronx Council on the Arts, and Havana Harlem Organization. And especially I'd like to thank the artists for taking yet another leap of faith. This event is part of Dancing La Botanica, which was begun in 2019. This is part of Pepatián's ongoing work to support Latina, Latino, Latinx, and Bronx-based multidisciplinary artists. Pepatián was co-founded in 1983 by award-winning artists Merián Soto, who's here tonight, Pepón Osorio, and Patty Bradshaw. I was hired in 99. Yay for me. My job has been to listen for cues and then to create some shaping around what I'm hearing and get some resources together. So there was a moment when we realized that we really had to do more for Latinx artists, and we need to do something more specific and very intentional. And this is how Dancy La Botanica arrived. So I was able to get some funding together and was happily invited Alicia Díaz, who you will meet next Friday when we have our third and final portion of the series. And Alicia Díaz and Beatrice Capote, who you'll meet tonight. That was amazing. And it's been a really special project, which you'll see more tonight. Yeah, and so far we've been super supported by many organizations in the Bronx, the Hostos, also Pregones Theater, Puerto Rican Traveling Theater at Pregones, the Bronx Arts Center, and BAD, Bronx Academy of Arts and Dance. So that's always great. So what happened today? Now, what happened that kind of brought us to this event tonight is that Hostos got in touch to find out what we were thinking about in the spring. And on the same day, Megan Curet, you'll meet tonight, called to say, oh, I have some access to space on the rooftop at the clock tower. So in my mind, I was joking, it wasn't really listening for cues. They were like giant arrows pointing, do this next. So that's how this project began. And it started as a rooftop series that kind of morphed into sky and water. It's a way to connect even in distance. It's a way to offer something supportive, to offer something creative with lots of beautiful conversation leading to these nights. And also to do something that was not very stressful as I take a breath out to relax a little bit. I really want to thank you all for being here tonight. And I would next like to introduce the fabulous hostess with the mostest for this evening, Caridad De La Luz, AKA La Bruja. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane. That was awesome. What an intro. Yes, sharing the same Cielo, a 3-part series. Tonight is evening 2. Thanks to the support and guidance of Pepatián for over 30 years and Pepatián's executive director, Dr. Jane Gabriels, for over 15 years. This collaboration of powerhouse women from different disciplines has been happening for over 2 years, and some new members have been invited because of their amazing talent to present their work. Dance, spoken word poetry, song, music, visual art. 2 of our leading artists in this project, more specifically called La Botanica, La Tierra Vive, are Alicia Díaz, and she was part of Evening 1. And tonight, Beatrice Capote is here with us and with a special offering before we see the film. I actually edited the film, and that I was pushed out of my comfort zone, something that I didn't think I could even do. This pandemic and the support of these women, the encouragement, it has led to what you'll be seeing today. I edited part 1 and tonight, and shout out to Melanie Gonzalez, who will be editing the final episode next week. So make sure that you see that. Let's hear from Beatrice Capote.
Hello, hola. I'm Beatrice Capote, and I'm just here. This is again, like La Bruja said, is the second evening, and it's been just wonderful. Even the first evening that we had with the other artists, and now we have, of course, Rosalynn and we have Megan and Noemí and Beverly and Merián Soto, of course, sharing their work today. So I guess Bruja should start doing the offering now, or are we, going into introducing the artist?
Oh, well, I wanted to introduce you. Let everyone.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And then I'm going to go on to the rest of the cast.
Yes. Well, just like Jane said, we've been doing this for the past 2 years, and it's been wonderful to just have the opportunity to, have all of us, just bring out our voices and Latinx voices and talk about traditions, talk about what botanica is, right? So bringing our spiritual traditions and really our culture and talking about that. And, what better way to do it with, of course, voice, with, of course, spoken word, dance, movement, conversations. So it's been really great just having this platform, of just artists in general. And, we keep on learning. So thank you.
Everybody brought so much to the table. Everyone had their, it is a botanica. Everyone is a different flower, a different herb,
right.
different, So let's introduce Beverly Lopez, who helped organize and curate. So
Yeah.
Beverly Lopez.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. It's night 2. I feel very grateful to be in space with you all. I'm very happy to continue conversation.
Cool. Yeah, Beverly made sure that we had all our things organized. Megan Curet.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Curet. I am so excited to be with you all here again for the second night. It's been really a pleasure working with all of these amazing, talented women for this project. So hope to bring you more in the future.
Yes, Megan is in Hawaii. Ooh, that's awesome. Okay, next up, let's invite all the way from Puerto Rico for the first time with us, Noemí Segarra Ramírez.
Ahora importante. Buenas noches con Coquís desde la Isla del Encanto. I'm very grateful and excited to be here with you all y con la maestra mentora Merián Sota y con Juana, que son ambas, they're both mentors to me. So getting to know you all through the work, bringing some ofrendas para el mejunje colectivo.
Tremenda. Gracias, Noemí. We're going to be seeing Noemí's work. And now let's invite Rosalynn Díaz. This is my special invited poet guest. This is her first time presenting her work in this type of platform. I was introduced to Rosalynn at the open mics in Hunts Point and then virtually at the New York Poets Cafe open mic. Rosalynn Díaz.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say that I am grateful to be here among, beautiful, amazing, powerful women, and just being part of this project is beyond words. I'm just so grateful. Thank you.
Yes. I want to give a shout out to Leenda Bonilla, who contributed photography, some beautiful photography of New York City and of Puerto Rico and of America, of landscape and just sky. So shout out to Leenda Bonilla, who's in the house with us tonight. If she wants to surprise us, she's welcome. She's in the chat though, so make sure you show her some love. I wanted to shout out Rokafella and Beasty from the Bronx, whose work you will see tonight as well. I mentioned Melanie Gonzalez, and now it is my honor to present to you our matriarch and co-founder of Pepatián, Merián Soto.
Hi, you crack me up with the matriarch. It's really a pleasure to be here. And I was here last week at I was so excited by the conversation last week. So I'm looking forward to seeing the work and and being part of the conversation this week. It's really wonderful, all you talented women, artists, and happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. Merián will have her work presented tonight too, so we will see the work of Merián Soto. And so let's reintroduce Beatrice Capote.
Thank you. So just really quickly before we go into seeing the video that was created, what the meat of this event is about. So before we do that, I always like to do, an offering. And since we are, of course, La Botánica, dancing La Tierra Vive, I would like to just offer, especially before a performance, just to honor our ancestors. So just like to do just a short, really brief, kind of like a libation. So pouring water on this floor. So if you have a cup of water, bottle of water, just basically as you're pouring, you can say out loud, someone that has transitioned, so ancestor, someone that has transitioned, basically our ancestors guide us in, they are the people that are guiding us forward to every step of the way, everywhere we go. So it's just a matter of when you're pouring the libation, pouring the water, that you are speaking out and saying their name in their presence, and that way they're alive, or really alive with us. They're present with us at all times, and continuing to protect us and everywhere and every space we are. So just pouring the libation, I'm just going to say, and of course you say and you could also type in the chat if you would like to put, the person. So I'm going to say mi abuela, Onelia Rodríguez Reinaldo, Heriberto Capote, Ibei, so really rest in peace. And then from here, I'm also going to take a little bit of agua florida, or Florida water. I'm just going to put it in my hands, just pour. And again, you could, of course, put water also on your hands. And then you're just going to just do a little shake, 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 and rubbing. And as you're doing this, you're, of course, just saying the names of your guides, your ancestors, and pídele, just like praying and just asking them to be in our presence and continuing to give us protection, and all of the, of course, love and all of the things that, of course, we would want. Positivity, healing, right? We need healing in our hearts, healing in our souls, healing in our bodies. So we're really taking this water, and that way we are healing ourselves and our spirits. And let's just close our eyes. If you haven't already, put the name, and you're just going to take 3 breaths. Breathe in and out. And breathe in and out. Last one, breathe in. And let the energy go down towards the floor, towards the earth, as you open up the portal. Thank you, everyone, for joining in our libation and bringing in our ancestors. I hope that you enjoy the show. And after the show, we are going to do a Q&A with all of the artists, and you'll get to know a little bit more. So thank you, and enjoy our show.
sidewalks. If these streets could talk, they would yell and whisper at the same time about beauty and crime. Signs of the times are everywhere, and some people cry and some people don't care. Some don't know the difference between living here or there.
You want me calm and compliant, but I was born loud, passionate, and defiant. I sit still, elbows resting on the windowsill, carefully watching. My burrow slowly morphing, transforming into an unfamiliar place, where some faces and street names remain the same, but gentrification masked as renovation stains my memory and threatens to rewrite our history. I am colonization's best mutation, perfect genetic recipe, reason for celebration, and yet you want me bland. Pero I am salsa, sofrito y sazón. Con tanta pasión, I sing to Mark Anthony and Héctor Lavoe. A mami le pido la bendición. I am the intersection where war meets parranda. I love hip-hop and baladas, but my comfort zone is facing destruction. My stomping grounds are under construction, bulldozer, undermining ancestral blood, sweat, tears, and devotion. The unwritten eviction notice. Though these streets are made of concrete, our presence is the only thing cemented into our sidewalks. Here, our names are spoken in the murmurs of the wind. We will not be bullied out of our neighborhoods by dollar signs. We will not be re-victimized, recolonized. My body is far more than a battlefield. My tongue, more than a sword and shield. I am water, able to quench your thirst and drown you. The choice is yours. You can only take me in small doses. You want to be like Moses and part my Red Sea. Want me a little less heard, a little more seen, while I'm busy looking up at the pretty skyscrapers, wondering how to make ends meet. Watching the clouds shape-shifting, daydreaming about taking back our community. Keep your white picket fence, I prefer the colors of graffiti. I'll trade the Starbucks for the neighborhood deli. My Bronx accent is my peace offering, but never an apology. I refuse to swallow a spoonful of the bitter reality that we may share the same sky, but not the definition of what America should be. Let my voice be my weapon against the manifestation of inequality. I reclaim my land, our land. So dare to take my hand. Show us that you care about what's really going on over here.
¿Cómo son las cosas allá?
El cielo llora y se parte, abre por todas las mujeres encontradas a manos de hombres que amaban, y aunque trataban de mantener felicidad con el patriarcado, sexismo, machismo, el infiel, ¿por qué tiene que tener permiso la mujer para vivir? Ellos deciden quién. El gobierno, policías, militares, con sus balas de testosterona. Qué vida cabrona es la de la mujer. Eres puta, te desnudan tu ser y derecho de vivir. Triste que es como sienten el deber, que tienen el derecho de ser agresivos, atrevidos, asesinos. ¿Cuántas mujeres han morido por femicidio o feminicidio? No hay justicia para la mujer en el sistema penal. Hasta el sistema tiene pene. Si no salen muertas, todavía se las clavan. ¿Y qué justicia tienen las mujeres trans? La sociedad se han santificado juez y jurado, empatía borrada, noticia titulada, no valía la pena de salvarlas, ni una más. No es un refrán, es una demanda. Deja de usar la propaganda para desviar tu responsabilidad, para cambiar la mentalidad que ayuda a propagar la violencia doméstica. ¿Cuándo vamos a parar el veneno espiritual que no deja a nuestras mujeres respirar? La tierra vive y no nos enterrarán. Este infierno de supremacía masculino lo vamos a pagar, gritando ni una más. Hear her calling wildly in the wood that whistles as it burns. Feel her pulling you tied in her tide with a lunar grip, holding you firmly to her hip, returning you to your birthing place, where your heart pounds clave rhythms under a moonlit orchestra of coquilles, winded in your avian paradise of humble beginnings. Her bird song, a hammock that lulls you to sleep. Hair of palm trees dance in a bomba breeze, where everything is whole and complete, in the bosom of her beach, in the veins of dirt streets, where footprints beg to be planted at the mountain of her feet. In the dust of memories, why try to outrun her? No matter how far you've roamed in space, this is where you belong. Mother said, come home. You are summoned to return to the arms of Madre Tierra. This treasure is not buried. Why deny fate? Why ask a bird not to fly? Nature cannot be denied. Her oceans rise higher than ever before, above the heavens that bore the rain from where you descended. Sacred ethereal beings are we, the children. This is not a new fight, but a new flight to the oldest destination. Pacha, tierra, mama, mama. Her love is the balm for the burn of colonization. But you must return to your mother nation, Madre Natal, renatriate, defend where X marks the spot, the being that unearthed you, exposing your roots so you could never deny to yourself or anyone that made you believe you are not hers. Listen to these words. Return to Mother Earth. Return.
te domina, tu energía, tu cariño y protección. Gracias, Oshun. Te doy una ofrenda de movimientos frescas, movimientos sensuales. La sensualidad está siempre en mi lado. Gracias, Oshun, por darme esa riqueza. La riqueza de amor, la riqueza de la vida.
trip.
What a treat.
Oh my gosh, I really feel like I went on a journey. How does everybody else feel? Let's check on in. Anybody want to just say a word? Put it in the chat. Anybody have questions? Are you inspired? Are you, did you get any ideas? Can't start video, Beverly says here. Well,
I'm in. Hello.
Hi.
Well, I mean, like I said, it was just such a treat just to see there's somebody that put so many different like layers. It was just, with every single person's just individualness, there was still this like commonality too. So it was just really nice. And then like the scenic views, there's just like so much, and it just like, for me, I was just thinking about like, even though everyone is in different places, there's still this like through line, right? And this intersectionality of culture that still stays alive, wherever we are. I think somebody put like diaspora, and Merián bringing in the diaspora and, and then your words, Bruja, with like, with mother nature, and then the drums, and then the music, and then Noemí with the feet, and then doing all these like swirling and twirling, and then foot, like there was just so much intricacies that I was just like sitting looking at the camera like this. So it's just like, oh wow, so it was just really beautiful. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking and just let somebody else.
Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you for that. Well, since Noemí and Merián and Rosalynn are new to this episode, right? They're on our second episode. I would like to ask them some questions, about what you saw, what you felt. We have Patricia Herrera in the chat, who is our friend, ally, just amazing, and wants to have you speak on your interaction with the nature, the wind, the plants, and the urban environment. How was that for you? So let's hear from Noemí first.
Gracias, Caridad, y en verdad, everybody. Thank you so much. You took me down. I was missing the Bronx. But that video was actually a self-documentation of a quick morning practice. Encima, on top, I put the iPhone en el piso, en la plataforma, in the wood panel that is also a live project. And I was really amazed because you put sound and music, but it was in silence what I sent to listen, to magnify listening to the body, because that's a practice that Merián, my teacher, and I shared, listening. La musiquita está por dentro. Pero when you still you can hear the wood panel. Yes. Okay, the view is to the body and the crotch even, and the sky. Esta inmensidad, la universa, desde este punto de vista que es el suelo, y me encantó que Beatrice hizo la ofrenda hacia el suelo, porque we're calling in all those forces of nature, ¿verdad? That are felt, perhaps not seen, but we are in physical manifestation. Y es en este plano that we're doing the work, right? But we're surrounded by spirit. And I think that question de Patricia, why we're trying to bring all the elements into the picture, is because we are those elements, aunque in human shape, right? But we are, without breath, that's life, and water is life, y la tierra, Pachamama, y pues las mujeres, como que, I'm gonna fade out, pero la cuestión de la conexión, it's easier for me to speak in Spanish. La cuestión de la conexión con la escucha interior, que es una práctica bastante yin, pues es algo que pienso que even pandemia is inviting us to go into this cocoon and to shelter, not just in the home space, but to really look inside and to listen and to return to the rhythms of Pachamama.
Oh, yes. So where exactly were you located? You were in Puerto Rico. Where exactly? Because there is a question they want to know, where exactly it was filmed.
Pues ese plataforma de madera, that wooden platform was in the back, which is actually a parking space. No era un rooftop. This was years ago, 2004, I think. And I put this platform in this estacionamiento, in this parking lot. And I had it out there and I would cover it up. And I had a quick practice before going to El Yunque. I was doing this science art collaboration. And I caught it on the iPhone. And then years later, there's this happening. And I'm thinking about doing, it's very funny because Jane, rooftop, but I've been thinking about dancing piso techo and how the tremors and the earthquakes brought this whole notion of the home space, even before pandemia. And the ceiling, how to have a home is first chakra, talking about physical manifestation and grounding things, right? And anyway, me perdí un poco, pero el suelo en Puerto Rico, el suelo as in all the things we need to thrive in life, because Puerto Rico es una colonia. We lost power last night. And that was really traumatizing because of Maria and that memory of not having electricity for months and how many lives departed because of this failure.
Yes.
Which was not the hurricane, was man-made. Es administración de recursos. Anyway, that's another conversation, but that's why returning to the body, returning to listening and connection deep inside and within, and that's the power of what we're communicating here in different meetings.
Very powerful work. What you contributed was amazing. I did put music onto it, but I did keep the sound. You do hear the winds. So when the music fades, there's some silence there, and then you see yourself go to the camera. I wanted to keep all of that because it just gave that feeling, I loved working with it. I loved speeding it up. I loved slowing it down. I, used it in different places.
I love that you took the risk of playing with it. And yes, thank you so much.
Oh, what a pleasure and an honor. So I would also like to hear from Merián Soto, any reflections. Where was your film shot, and what beautiful beach was that? And I know that your son was the one who created the music, so I made sure to keep the credit at the end so that everybody knew what was what. But tell us your thoughts, Merián. You have to unmute. We don't hear you.
Thank you, Caridad. I'm so glad you kept my music. So this video, like Noemí, it's came from a practice. I have a practice of walking and dancing and moving every day, and one of the things that happens that I love about improvisation and dance is that there are moments when, something magical happens and you're not planning it. I know these moments happen because I do this all the time and they happen all the time. But through a practice of kind of self-documentation, sometimes I'm lucky enough to catch it. And I was thinking about this, making something with the sky. And I was walking on the beach. This is a beach where I grew up. in Vega Alta in Puerto Rico. And, you know, when standing in the wind, I often ask myself, how do I allow my body and myself to be moved by the wind? How can the wind go through me? How can the wind lift me and dance me from within? And so I feel like this video, I think, is an expression of joy, of love, of gratitude for the beauty of this place, for the good fortune that I have of being there, of responding, dancing, and being danced by the forces of nature, by gravity and the wind. So it's a very simple dance, very spontaneous. That day, the wind was so strong. I cannot help but salute the forces of Yemaya, the goddess of the sea, Oja, the deity of hurricanes and cemeteries. So that's the story of that. And I was really happy to, it was really interesting when the experience, because it's that thing of letting the wind dance me. There's also this thing of culture dances me, right? It goes through me. And as soon as I could feel this song, salsa rhythm moving through me, that's the way I could catch the wind.
That's amazing.
It's a simple dance. It's very simple, and it's really nice to be able to share in this platform, to be able to share work. I say I'm just so grateful to still dance, and I just want to dance till I die. And so this is really wonderful to be part of this group and to be with Noemí and with you, Bruja. I love your editing. It's been, and all the spoken word, everybody's dancing. I mean, it's just really exciting that there are so many fabulous women coming strong.
It's an honor, and I'm so happy you liked it. I really wanted to please everybody. I wanted to make everybody so happy and shine you in the most beautiful light. You so deserve it. What I felt, the poem that I did between Noemí and Merián was, dedicated to all the women that, have been murdered in Puerto Rico. And while I was living in Puerto Rico was when two very high profile murders happened very close to me. I was in Rio Grande, and it was just, I saw the protests. It was so frightening and daunting. But what I loved was that, hearing it and seeing it again, that poem, I needed that air that you were dancing to. It gave me breath. Like, it allowed me to be like, oh, okay, oof, let that one go. It just felt, it gave it light and air and sky and rhythm and beauty. And it was very healing. Both of you, very, very healing. And bringing these words to life. This was my first time editing Rosalynn, her work, and incorporating Ashley's visuals, because she also captured some people. So I wanted to say hello to Rosalynn Díaz. How did it feel seeing yourself?
Hey, so that was, I can't even put it into words. I was so nervous to see it. I even made it a point not to look at the unedited versions of the video. I said, when I see it, I want to see the finished product. I want to see it for the first time. I would just want to capture it and just be in my feels, and just capture it as a whole. I don't want to see it until, the day of. And it really did help not to see anything before today, because the impact it had on me was so, I can't even, as a poet, I should have the words, right? But I don't.
It's
Uh,
funny. I said that today too in an interview. When the poet doesn't have the words, that's because it just means, so
it hit,
much.
it
But
hit.
you were beautiful. Your poem is so needed. That's you articulated the feeling of just so many of us, seeing our people displaced and seeing neighborhoods change and
Yes. Oddly enough, the day that I went to Hostos, there was construction everywhere, everywhere. And I was talking to Ashley the day that, we went out to try and get some people from the community to partake in this. And everybody was just so cooperative. Everybody wanted and was okay with being part of it. But just back to the point of, gentrification and the changes that, being raised here in the Bronx and growing up here and seeing that change happen gradually, it does something. And the day that we went to Hostos, there were like bulldozers everywhere, and bulldozers are mentioned in my poem. But I was so glad to be able to contribute to this, Beatrice, and the ofrendas. And you know what? We all kind of gave an ofrenda or a contribution to this project, and it just all meshed so well. I'm still like in awe. Thank you.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work. I've watched Rosalynn grow and develop in the open mics every week, and I was like, no, this woman she needs to be seen. She needs to be heard. So I'm so happy that
Thank you.
did. You really did it justice, I tell ya.
Thanks.
So amazing. So anybody have any questions in the chat? Let me know. Does anyone want to say anything else? Beverly, Leenda has a question for Beverly and Megan. Can you discuss your process and inspiration from that morning on the Bronx roof at the clock tower?
You could take it, Megan. I know you introduced the project to us and gave us the beautiful opportunity to be on the clock tower in the first place. So
Yeah. I just, for myself, I always think back to how me and Beverly met first and foremost, and that's always really exciting. We don't get to work together nearly enough, but so for myself and Beverly, they were both Bronx natives, and I think first generations into the US, Puerto Rican families, we have a shared investment in the Bronx and in maintaining and retaining that art and that culture there. And so when the opportunity came to move to the Clock Tower building, for me, it was always going to be about also making it a space available for my community, especially in the heart of gentrification. And I moved in and I was like, we need us to be here down here. We need to be making work, and we need to be a part of this community change that's occurring. So I just offered the roof, as I've been offering to all sorts of people in different projects, just to keep art happening in that area and on rooftops, because I think it's a great space to make things happen and to make things grow. And we were able to make something come to life. And so Beverly and I, as well as Rokafella, who's not here today, were just really, it was just like a space to create, but also to support one another. We did all of our filming for and with each other. I mean, we were doing our cinematography together, our videography. Like, it was really a day of creating solidarity and, as I said last week, sisterhood. So I think it's apparent throughout the whole video, this whole project, that's really at the core and the root of all of this. So that's what I'll say to that.
Well, that rooftop that I was on with the Puerto Rican flag and the star is actually the rooftop of the Poets Passage in Viejo San Juan, which is the Cathedral of Poetry created by Lady Lee Andrews, who was like one of the first people to really support my poetry on the island. And so it was perfect. I went to Viejo San Juan, went to the roof of the Poets Passage, just put a tripod, turned it on and then just did movements. And, I danced a little with the sky myself, even though dancing is not my first, my forte, but I love dance. And I actually, I have 2 metal rods in my spine. I did study dance from the age of 4 until 13, and that's when I had spine surgery. So dance really is in me. And this was a beautiful opportunity to delve into the different disciplines that I had, kind of abandoned and thought like, no, that's, I can't do that, or I can't do this. And this project just released limitations for me, and I'm just so grateful. It was like sky's the limit. Here we are sharing as the same Cielo, and I was learning from this project, the growth, the expansion, and the collaboration and the talent. It was just, I was living with you guys, because I would edit mostly at night, so I would watch your footage, and it was just such a beautiful experience. And I was completely by myself, except for with my little Chihuahua Pinky. We were both in Puerto Rico for 5 months. And, collecting footage, taking footage, thinking where would this fit, and missing the Bronx too, because this is my first time being away from the Bronx for this amount of time. I'm back now, but that whole experience, it was quite dreamy, and I'm just so happy that I was trusted with such a deed, because I was like, oh my God. At one point I didn't know if I could, and then I just let it go and started listening to the different music. Noemí, I didn't know that part about you were like dancing, the sound was of the body. I didn't know that part, so forgive me. I took liberties. I took a bunch of liberties. I had to be reined back, but the intention was truly just to make you shine and help you shine, and and like the music videos that I make for myself, my little independent videos, the stuff that I do for myself, I was like, I'm gonna do this. Let me do this feature for for this person, this kind of sound. I was looking at these tracks on YouTube that is like free music, and I don't even know if it is free. We apparently had some issues with Ostos sharing this music. That we were told it was free. I don't know what happened, but yeah, with Noemí's piece, I just thought that sound was like wow, and then, like your body was like, it was like just like a fabric, in the wind, and I just threw that track on. I took the liberty, but I knew not to touch Merián's part. I was like, oh no, not gonna do that.
I kind of wanted to bring it back really quickly, if possible, to Martin's question in the chat, because I think it's a really relevant one. I'll speak briefly to the work that I'm doing on the island at the moment. And I think what's going to be important now, as things progress and move forward, and we see a lot of changes happening in both the main USA, in our cities, but also on the island. And we're going to see people going and buying up property, and we're going to see a lot of changes. And what I think is really important between the island of Puerto Rico, and I'll just speak to that, and people of the diaspora, is bridging gaps. For me, I'm mostly concerned and preoccupied with what that looks like. So I borrow lots of elements of bomba in my practice and in my work. And so it's important for me in my research to make sure that I'm working directly with bomba dance companies on the island and speaking to the artists that are practicing on the island, and making sure that that's central in my research. And so it's not just about the work that I can do here in the United States or what's elevating my project and my work, but it's very much centered around the origins and the history, because I think it's going to be really important what happens next with our culture and our history, specifically since so much of it is rooted in the oral. And so I think that's, for me, this is very important at the moment. How do we continue that and keep that alive? sorry, not to jump off and go all deep and dark, but
I wanted to acknowledge Doctora Malta Moreno Vega, because some of the footage that I shot was in Loíza with the drumming, and I love that I caught a woman, you know, the percussionist, that was in Loíza as well. And Casa Afro is the institution that Malta Moreno Vega is creating, and some of the images, the mosaic and the mural of the like Ochun with the shell, that was all on the wall of Casa Afro. So I would like to acknowledge Dr. Malta Moreno Vega, and yes, and those percussionists that were on the beach there in Loíza. I had the grace of coming across them and filming them, and I felt so lucky to have captured that. I wanted to acknowledge praise from Soldanela Rivera, who says that this is a much needed conversation between here and there through spoken word movement and lands, La Diaspora in conversation and exploration. Thank you, Soldanela Rivera, who I will be collaborating with at the end of this month on June 24th. I'll be presenting From Poor to Rico, which is a 45-minute film work. You know, so this has all been helping me create what we will be doing. She's going to moderate, and we're going to have a conversation about the work. So tune in for that. And what else can we say?
Bruja, I wanted to go back to that question that Martin, but I wanted to just kind of like read it. It said, keep the colony conversation going. Diaspora artists traveling and staying on the island provide witness. A question, how can you as a group and as individuals encourage others to do so, go there, where to stay, how to remain and even thrive in scarcity? Sorry, Noemí, you can go. I wasn't sure if you were gonna say something. Oh, okay. What I wanted to also kind of thank you for that, Martin, and also all the comments. I wanted to also say, so a lot of my research and a lot of what I did here with also the video too is, was really representing Oshun, and as we basically also in some of the conversations that we had earlier, we talked about other orishas or other deities, Oya and Yemaya being present. I think that is important for because basically my research is on Afro-Cuban folklore, and soy cubana, yo nací aquí, pero mis padres son de Cuba. I lived here, I'm from here, but my parents was born in Cuba. So one of the things that I basically tell the just my students or people around me, because this is what I do, is to we talk about listening, right, and listening to our elders. Really, every time I go to Cuba, I always go to where the elders are, having conversations with them. Right, because we forget about our elders, and even with this whole pandemic, this is now an opportunity. We keep on talking about this of going back home. Everybody has the opportunity now, and really the responsibility to really do our research. Right, it's if you want to know La Isla, you want to know where you're from, or you want to get the information, go to your elders, do your research. Right. And because also the education comes from La Casa, right? So really talking to the people around you, La Familia and everything, to really get that information. And that way you start to understand and know, who to reach to, who to connect to, right? And I think that that's very, very important. And then that way we could continue on really decolonizing all of the different information that continues to be colonized, right? And continues to be just making sure that our language, our voice, and all of that is being prevalent. So so I think that that's one of the things that I always continuously tell myself is continue to research, continue to listen, continue to speak to the elders for the information, you know, and it's even a privilege to even be in this, of course, platform to have these conversations, right? Because that's one thing that, you know, dance and the arts is always something that gets like torn down. And even like Bruja and also Rosalynn, you were talking about in your poems about like, you know, just really keeping our voices alive, women in general, right? And, you know, the power of women, the power of the matriarch, right? And respecting that. So, so yeah, I mean, I don't want to go in circles, but, you know, it's just a matter of like really, you know, really listening, really thinking about what is coming out, right? And also what is coming in.
Yes.
Too.
So yeah, the second poem that I did was called Return Home. And, you know, some, you know, as we've witnessed how indigenous children are taken from their mothers and, you know, taken from lands or completely displaced and disconnected, that, you know, even if you don't have that, you do still have earth. You still have the land to listen to connect to, and get that strength. You know, so that's the invitation to go back to the land, to Mother Earth. But before we end, I wanted to go back to Merián and hear from Merián once again. I mean, you helped found Pepatián. I would like to know anything about those formative years.
Okay. So Pepatián. Well, Pepatián was founded in 1983. Pepón Osorio, Patty Bradshaw, and I were making work together, and we needed to raise money, so we made Pepatián as like to put in a grant. You know, it was one of those things, and the name came from Pepón, Patty, and Merián put together. So it started as this kind of collective for doing work that was interdisciplinary from the very beginning. Pepón, if people know Pepón's work, he does elaborate installations. And so we would do dances within these installations that Pepón was doing. And pretty soon we realized that once Pepatián, our work together kind of took off, and we were able to get funding from like the NEA or New York State Council on the Arts, we realized that we wanted that this little organization, this little arts collective could then also support the work of other artists. So we started thinking of projects that would engage other artists in the Bronx and support other artists in the Bronx. And the idea was to support the creation of and presentation of performance work in the communities where the work was born, because a lot of the work, you know, a lot of the opportunities we had to present work were in like venues that were more mainstream or whatever. So we were trying to find ways to present the work in the communities. And we did a bunch of different projects in the 80s that were for multiple artists. So Pepatián went from this kind of collective of these three artists to become an organization that supported other artists. We did a project called Tour de Fuerza, Nuevo Latino Dance and Performance. It had the work of Carmelita Tropicana, El Atroyano, Pepón Osorio, Merián Soto, Viveca Vázquez, Eva Gastiosoro. I'm wondering if I think that's, Uzi Parnez. And we actually toured. This was this touring project that toured, we went to New Mexico, we went to Boston, we went to Venezuela, we went to Puerto Rico, and so these are some of the ideas of some of examples of the works that we did. Another Pepatián project was a collaboration with Taller de Otra Cosa in Puerto Rico. And we did a festival called Rompeforma, Maratón de Baile Performance y Visuales, which was this really exciting project of bringing Latino artists from all over the globe to Puerto Rico to perform in these shared programs. So there was a lot of cross fertilization, and getting to and making contacts with people. And so right now I'm working with Viveca on trying to, we're making a documentary on Rompeforma, because we didn't have any money, but we had enough money to shoot it with some kind of video camera. So we have performances of really, really wonderful performances of artists that, that visit us in Puerto Rico. It was really wonderful. And then, Pepatián kept, it's been one of the things that I love about Pepatián is that it's very, the idea of Pepatián is very responsive to the moment, very mobile. Like it's not a heavy institution. It's like a light institution. And I think I was really lucky when I met Jane Gabriels that we were able to hire her to take the institution to the next level. Because by the time when in 1999, I was offered a position at Temple University, so I had to leave the Bronx. I didn't have to, but I chose to leave the Bronx. And my feeling was that I had it with being an administrator, and we were lucky we got this fundings that I could hire. We could hire a director for 3 years. So that's when Jane came in, and then slowly Jane just took it over. And it's really wonderful also to have created something that continues to support artists in the Bronx. And I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to continue to engage with these artists, because I think this is what it's all about, like how do we keep making the work and help each other in the process.
Yes. Thank you so much for that, Merián. That was amazing to hear from you. It's just so wonderful. I see Pepatián as a magic carpet that has taken us to so many places. Thank you everyone for being with us tonight. Our second evening has come to a close. Please join us next week when we have our grand finale edited by Melanie Gonzalez. We will all be there. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Hostos. Thank you, Pepatián. Thank you to all the women. Thank you to everybody watching. And we all share the same cielo, and we should all be grateful for that.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.